Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Good Day Chula Vista. I'm Faby Gonzalez with Coldwell Banker West, and today we're on our episode 95. And if you're a homeowner or are thinking of being a homeowner and you might sell your house in the future, this interview is for you. So stay with us. Well, welcome back. Thank you for joining us on another episode. And today I'm super excited because I have my boss here, Jose Unibe. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor.
Thank you. So Jose Unibe is our broker of record here at Coldwell Banker West. So we all have a lot of respect and admiration for him because any issues we have, we can always go to him and he's always going to guide us the right way as realtors and make sure that none of our clients ever get in any kind of trouble. So you do a wonderful job, Jose.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Sometimes you're like super picky with our files, but I think it's for our own benefit, right?
For your benefit of yours and your clients, of course.
Yes. So, Jose, I know that I've known you for many years since I joined this company 7 years ago, but tell us about you.
Well, I started in the real estate business back in 1984.
Uh-huh.
I started working for a local company here in town, and I worked for about 3 companies, became a broker back in broker manager of an office back in 1986, and been a broker of record for about maybe the last 20 years for a company called Prudential California Realty, and now with Coldwell Banker. I've been here for about 80 and a half years now. I was just playing the other day with numbers, and I think I've been involved in close to 60,000 escrows.
Oh my God.
As a broker.
60,000
Yes.
escrows.
And those are the ones that closed. Many other ones don't close. So probably been about close to 100,000 transactions in my 30-some year career in this industry. Careers changed. The business itself has changed quite a bit since then.
I can imagine. Probably back in 1984, there were probably no DocuSign.
No, there was actually not even fax machines or beepers or cell phones.
Oh my God.
We used to carry a pocket full of dimes. So when we saw a property we liked, we ran to the corner when there was a telephone booth and make a call to our clients.
Hey, we saw this house for sale. But there was
Yes.
MLS, right? Was there an MLS?
No, there was actually a paper sheet you received. And you put it in you took it to the board of realtors on Wednesday, and they'll put it in a book. They come out on Fridays, and everybody carried a book with like a catalog.
So with the houses that were listed for sale.
Yeah, a little box with a little picture, very basic information: how many bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, pretty much the price, and that's about it. How to show it.
Wow.
And then from that, and every week you saw books. So at the end of the year, you had 52 catalogs, one for every week, and that's how we did our business from.
Wow. So it's gotten so much easier for us nowadays.
We had a one-page purchase contract.
One page.
And that was it, 8 by 10.
I can imagine how many lawsuits.
Well, that's the reason we have so many papers today.
Exactly. Oh my God. I cannot imagine having a contract with only one page. So many things can go wrong in a transaction. If you're not careful, if the wording is not correct, if we're not disclosing everything. So that's why I had invited Jose, because here as you guys know that are homeowners, there comes a time that you need to sell your house and people think, well, I'm just going to sell it myself and I'm not going to use an agent. You know what? Even agents do that. Even agents try to do for sale by owners, and I honestly think that it's not a good idea. I think we should always get another realtor to represent us, because there's so many things that we may forget when we are the owners, and they might think we're doing it on purpose. But Jose, now, why do you think, in your opinion, why do you think a homeowner wants to do it for sale by owner?
Probably the number one reason is money. They believe that by doing it themselves, you're going to save money.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and remember the time that I said, I'm going to save money and make my own oil change in my car. Instead of paying $20, I'm going to go buy the oil, buy the filter. But then after I did all that, then what the heck do I do with the oil? The used oil and the mess and everything else. Then from then on was the one time only that I decided I better hire somebody who knows what they're doing, and they take care of it. So money is the issue. But let me tell you what I've seen through my career in real estate when it comes to this issue of question of money. Mm-hmm. The money has been that the sellers believe is money, but buyers also understand that if there's no agent involved, the seller doesn't have to make as much money on the sale as possible. So if I'm a buyer and I look at a house in the same street, and for one I'm paying $500,000 as an example.
As a buyer, like
As a buyer,
uh-huh.
and you have a real estate agent helping you, or you're buying this house from the seller with nobody helping you, and also paying $500,000. So most buyers, what they're going to do is say, well, you're not paying a commission. I'm going to reduce the commission that you're not paying out, and work with you directly. So in the long run, the seller's not making any more money. It's getting probably about the same amount of money, sometimes less, and then all the headaches that go involved with it. I was mentioning earlier before that we had a one-page contract. The contract is now 10 pages. Okay, it's 10 pages, plus disclosures.
Yes.
In the olden days, the responsibility when I started in 1980, before 1986, from June of 1986, a very famous law change in California, the buyer was responsible for what they bought. Buyer beware. They had to, do whatever they want to, but it was on them. Then there was a big court case that decided that the seller had a lot of responsibility to disclose issues on the property, how things were going with the property. So that changed the term from the buyer beware to seller disclose everything you know about this property.
Mm-hmm.
A document was created that became law July 1st, 1986, called the Transfer Disclosure Statement.
Mm-hmm.
That many for sale by owners don't understand that form is required by law, even by them, to use in a sale of a property.
Mm-hmm.
Not just real estate agents, but by law, anybody in the state of California who sells a house has to use that form. So
what's the name of the form again?
The Transfer Disclosure Statement. We call it a TDS in short.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the form. So the purchase contract with one page, in some ways, is the same as today's.
Mm-hmm.
First paragraph: who's the buyer, property address, how much money I'm paying for the property, the date of the escrow, and how long of escrow.
Mm-hmm.
The last paragraph is: I take your offer, I don't take it. Before that was on the same page,
Mm-hmm.
page 1. Today, paragraph number 1 is on page 1. The last paragraph is on page 10. In between is 30 years of lawsuits.
Right.
And that's what those forms have been created. Along with that, they've created a lot of things they call like the seller property questionnaire, their national hazard disclosure documents that have to be provided by law. Our files run between 50 to 75 pages for a very simple transaction that nothing went wrong.
Right.
Correct. As opposed to one before. And the burden has changed, has shifted dramatically to the seller.
Mm-hmm.
For things they know about the property, things that in the olden days you got in trouble with a neighbor and you sold the house. Now you got to tell the buyer you had a problem with the neighbor.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. You want to tell them why you
some
moved.
of the reasons why people sold are the reason why now they have to be disclosed. And this form, don't take me wrong, protects the seller also.
Right.
Because you disclose and have nothing to worry about. But so money is probably the number one reason. And the thing that's interesting that happens too, Gabby, is that there's a statistic that say that about 85% of all for sale by owners end up going back after a while to a late agent to get the property sold. Meanwhile, they spend money in signage, marketing, advertising.
Wasting time.
Sometimes time is very valuable.
Yes.
They have a place to buy, a place to move. And then, 2-3 weeks or a month later, they still hire an agent, they still have to pay the commission. Meanwhile, they spend extra money for the property. So, again, I say always leave things to be done by the experts to the experts. That's where we hire people to do certain things. That, we can always do our cars, we can always do this, do that. But we have more valuable time to be doing that we have knowledge at.
Right.
We have a lot of knowledge, and even us, I wish every 100%, every transaction went fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's issues that come up. And
Right.
we are there prepared to protect them.
So they think they're doing it to save money.
Yes.
But in the long run, if they do it for sale by owner, first of all, they're not gonna prepare the house like an experienced agent is gonna tell them how to prepare the house, because we've been doing this every day for years. They're not gonna sell it for as much money anyways, because
Usually not, correct?
they're probably gonna overprice it and it's just gonna stay sitting there, or they're gonna underprice it and not get multiple offers. Because when you do it for sale by owner, the property does not go in the MLS on the multiple listing services. And some people say, well, I'm gonna put it on Zillow, I'm gonna put it on all these other websites. It's not the same. It's not the same. You don't get the exposure that you get when your property is in the MLS. So we do get multiple offers when we list the property in the MLS with professional pictures, with the right description, when the house has been staged and prepared for it to go on the market. So they think they're saving money, but they're really not saving money.
Gabby, people think that, yes, and especially today's day and age with internet. I can put my sign in a something like a Craigslist or a for sale by owner list, but even today, statistics tells us that over 80% of all sales in real estate through real estate agents are done through the multiple listing service. That's how the clients found out to their agent their home.
Right.
Having an open house by itself, doing an ad by itself doesn't work. Now, we use the 20% too.
Yeah.
But we also have the 80% access to all the agents.
Right.
Because if I know a bank of individuals has an 80% potential of selling my home, exposing to clients of many thousands of clients, two things will happen. You'll sell quicker, and there's going to be the opportunity to make more money because you expose it to more people to see it.
Right.
That's probably one of the biggest drawback for sale by owner, or for a real estate company who doesn't do a lot of marketing. It doesn't get to be seen. Everything has to be seen. The more people see it, they can fall in love with it and they can buy it.
Yeah, more
Otherwise,
exposure, more
it's a good kept
offers.
secret.
Nobody's going to find out that your house is listed for sale. So besides saving money, do you think that maybe they're not using an agent because they don't know who to trust?
Well, let me tell you, and yes, unfortunately, sometimes salespeople we don't have the best reputation that exists out there. But let me tell you, one thing that we do, especially in California, that we're guided and ruled by many regulations like the State Department of Real Estate in California, with very strict rules. We're also realtors, which not every agent is a realtor.
Exactly. Make
And
sure they're realtors.
We abide by the code of ethics. We're governed by them. We have rules that keep an eye on things that we've done. It is very important for us to do things properly. California is a very litigious state. There's a lot of lawsuits. We want to make sure that both our clients and ourselves are protected. So therefore, we always try to do the best possible work we can do to protect both of us. And unfortunately, sellers sometimes are acting on the kind of from their heart, and they're dealing with maybe a potential buyer who they think is a nice person. We have to treat it from the point of view of business. And a good realtor, a good trustworthy like you are, that's why you're in the business for so long.
Thank you.
This business runs on reputation, and unfortunately, bad reputation can grow real fast. Good reputation takes a while to obtain it. You have, so that is why you're paying for quality, and when you get quality, you're gonna get quality.
Yeah, you're gonna get more for your house, and you're gonna get less headaches.
Correct.
And it's just gonna be a smooth transaction because your agent is gonna take over all those headaches and make sure they have a planning system in place so you don't have to struggle with the buyers. Obviously, things happen, but if you have an experienced realtor, then they're going to know exactly how to handle it. They're going to have a good broker behind it. Like if I have an issue, I have a question, something, I don't know, should we disclose this? Is this something that we should even mention? We can always go to our broker here at the office, Jose Unibe, and he would always tell us. I mean, he's been doing this for so many years. I always feel like, I always tell Bill, because Bill audits our files. And I always tell him, I like it because my file is ready for court. I think all of our files should be ready for court. And if they're ready for court, they're probably never going to end up in court because they're ready. So now, okay, so that's why we think they do it. Now, let's say they decided to do it. And now, what are the risks of they doing their own for sale by owner?
Well, putting aside the money part, that they're not going to get as much money as they could have by exposing to so many people.
Before we go there, let me answer here to all the people that are here because we have some friends here and I want to acknowledge them that they're here watching us. Yeah. Salvador, thank you for watching us. We have Ana Hueso, Leti, Karen Vargas, hello. That's our manager, sales manager here at the office. Karen is saying, if anyone chooses to sell by owner, am I, as a seller, required by law to have any specific paperwork? Yes, the TDS.
The Transfer Disclosure Statement, the National Hazard Disclosure Statement, and there's another document also has to do that. They have to abide by the rules.
Right.
And also if they're dealing with different kind of lenders like a VA and FHA, they have to know the rules that those lenders operate under.
Right. So you don't think that because you're doing it for sale by owner and you're saving some money, you don't have to abide by these rules. You still have to supply those forms, fill them out, and disclose that information to your buyer, even if you're not using an agent. That's by law. Let's see. As a for sale by owner, if the buyers do not have an agent, am I obligated to pay any commission to the agent? As a for sale by owner, if the buyers do have an agent, if they do, am I obligated to pay any commission to the agent?
The answer is no, they're not obligated.
Okay,
they're not obligated. But if somebody has a buyer sitting in their car, you want to sell your home, you may want to consider very carefully not having the person walk away from there.
Yeah, because you're not going to lose this buyer just because you don't want to pay a commission, and you might end
Correct.
up not getting another one, right?
Correct.
Let's see. Wouldn't it be a huge risk? Okay, so we're going to go into the risks right now. Okay, so I think that was the only question. Hi, Mia. Thank you for watching us. Hola, Teresita Salazar. Pay attention, because this is advice from our broker. Okay, so let's go over the risks now.
Okay, well, the risk again is not knowing the system. Is one of the things we do is we as agents, we screen buyers by making sure they can qualify as well as we possibly can, qualify for the loan. We're working with other ethical agents out there in the industry, but like any in the industry, some are not as good as others.
Right.
We work primarily with realtors, and we always want to advise our client, and the best thing, like you said, to have the sale done, they will outstand any kind of a court situation if it ever got to that, for our protection and their protection.
Right.
It's very important. So, because unfortunately, escrows do not end necessarily the day escrow closes. The seller still has liability for time to come after close of escrow.
Even after they close.
So
right.
we want to make sure that it's the very unlikely situation that's sometimes going to come back to haunt them. Later on says, you didn't say this, you didn't disclose that, therefore, blah, blah, blah. And can cost lots of money to do that. So that's probably one of the biggest things is the risk involved. The other part is when a seller is selling, they're selling their home. They have an emotional involvement in the sale of this house.
Right.
And sometimes you have to remove yourself from the emotional and work with the business part of selling a house in order to make sure that everything is done properly, everything is the way it should be, not because you feel they're nice people, they're nice buyers.
Right.
We need to make sure that everything is proper so they can end up at the end, their goal obtained, which is sell their home, get their money, and move on to whatever they want to do after that. And that's our job to do that. Probably the other risk involved is by having no control who's looking at your home. You're open your doors to anybody walking from the street to come and take a look at your house. Agents bring
scary.
people in that we have met them, we introduce them, they know who we are. We have pre-qualified with a lender. We got personal information before pretty much we take them to their homes. So there is that filter of additional protection that a for sale by owner may not have.
Right. They're going to let anybody
in this
in.
day and age, there's so many kinds of financing available that we also need to know an expert to do that. And a loan officer is not allowed, if they don't have a real estate license, to give them real estate advice. So they're running that. I recommend it to a person who insisted, like you said, I'm going to do it myself. I have all the time in the world. He said, well, I would hire an attorney to make sure everything is done. He said, after I finished paying all the attorney's fee, I should have hired a real estate agent, and they would have done the work for me. I did the work plus, but every time I did something, I had to have it checked, and it cost me more money.
Yeah, and then they probably didn't get top dollar for their property either.
Actually, one of the concerns that he had at the end was that he thought he was going to have multiple offers because his people in the neighborhood, he got 3, 4, 7 offers, and he only got one after 2.5 weeks because
he didn't have an agent.
Who was looking at his house?
Yeah, only people that drove by.
Yeah, and the people that were with an agent, they were not obviously they were sold by owner. They were going past it. They were not showing his house because they're not part of the system.
Right. If we have buyers, honestly, we are going to show the properties that are listed in the MLS with another realtor, because I don't want to bring my buyers to a for sale by owner if I don't know how that seller is going to behave. I don't know if they're hiding things from us. They don't have an agent, so who knows? There's no liability other than for him, and if something happens, it's going to be a hassle for me. So I rather tell my buyers, we're not going to look at any for sale by owners. We're just going to look at what's listed with a realtor. Now, a realtor and a real estate agent, what's the difference between a realtor and a real estate agent?
Okay, first, in order to be a real estate agent, you get a license with the state of California.
Right.
Okay, so anybody who has passed the test, done their studies, gets
background
the license.
check.
Everything, the fingerprints, the whole work, in order to be able to, because we're going to be in people's houses, so we have to be very cautious what we do. Then there's associations of realtors. One is called is a local association. In our case, for example, we have the Pacific Southwest Association of Realtors, which is a self-governing body who keeps an eye on how things we do. We're guided by it's called Code of Ethics. That is a national from the National Association of Realtors, who says these are the things you do properly to protect the interests of your clients, and everything is geared towards the client, to the consumer, to the customer, and we make sure we adhere by those things, by those rules, to make sure that everything is so we're playing in an equal a playing field, that is fair for everybody, both but buyers and sellers, and that a non-realtor doesn't have to obey by those rules because he doesn't have any rules, except the state of California rules. There's usually no overview. The good news is most agents are realtors, but there's probably about 30% of all people in the industry, and also the same thing. They don't want to join the board for two reasons: money, and because they don't want somebody to keep an eye on them what to do.
Exactly. So if they're not doing it to save money because they don't want to pay the Association of Realtors, then they're probably not good realtors because they cannot afford it. And if they don't want to abide by those rules, they don't want anybody looking at what they're doing, is because they have something to hide, right? So you want to be careful and make sure you get a realtor when you're thinking of selling your house. So they risk. So now, if they don't have a realtor and they're doing it themselves, even though they do the transfer disclosure statement, and they might still not fill it out right. They might still miss a few things.
Correct. Well, there's the issue with the property itself. That's what we as a realtors, even before the process, we put the house on the market. We have investigated ownership of the property. Any issues that involve with easements, property lines, things of that nature. And because we have to make sure the buyer understands those so he doesn't come back to haunt us after close of escrow.
Right.
We do a lot of that information. We talk to the clients and interview our clients again from the point of view of tell us what you know about the property, tell us about what you know about the neighborhood, and we disclose that to our potential buyers. And we, again, make it as clear, as transparent as possible transaction so everybody doesn't know what they're buying and everybody knows what they're selling.
Right.
So that's one of the things that we do when it comes to that.
Here at, when you work with a realtor, I'm speaking for our company, Coldwell Banker West. We have meetings every month. We have office meetings, and then we have company meetings. So we review things that have happened. So the way you get that your experience is by how many transactions you have done. So let's say I'm only doing 30, 40 transactions a year, but here I'm exposed to hundreds and hundreds. My neighbor here sells 20 a month. So I'm exposed to all that. If anything happens, we get to hear it from our broker during our meetings. So make sure you're working with a realtor that is exposed to so much experience, because it's impossible for us as a single person to have all the experience in the world. But when you are working with a big company that is sharing all this information, we get to learn. Like I was telling you, Jose, remember that seller that wanted to say his house was a quiet house, remember?
Yes.
So that was an example. To me, that was an eye-opener. And it's a seller said, I want to do my own remarks. I'm going to put I want to say this is a quiet house. So it was an expensive house over $1 million. And guess what? The neighbors had dogs and they were barking too much. And maybe because they were new owners, so they didn't know them, they were barking. So these new owners decided to sue the sellers before, because it was not a quiet house. So those are things that here at the office, we have people overlooking what remarks are you making on your list. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest, sometimes we get upset because you guys are on our case all the time. You can't put that on Facebook. You can't say that on the flyer. You need this number on it. And of course, we sometimes get upset, but there's a reason why we are under a broker and they have all this experience. So if you do it yourself, if you do it for sale by owner, you don't know any of this. So you don't know. You can end up in court and I didn't even think that was an issue with the dogs barking.
There's things that we don't understand, because we also have to deal with discrimination. There's a lot of rules of discrimination.
Right.
A person may not understand and know that, for example, you're mentioning, I have a beautiful home for a nice for a nice family. That could be interpreted as discrimination, because you take care and towards families only, not just individuals or to singles. So there's a lot of things out there. People mean well. This is a very nicely Hispanic community. That again can be interpreted as an discrimination. So unfortunately, through experience, we have learned, and through classes and through webinars and everything else we attend. One of my jobs is go to a lot of classes and be updated what's going on. Is the things that we don't think are an issue can really become a big issue. As you mentioned, a quiet neighborhood. A safe neighborhood. People use that. This has been a very safe neighborhood. Buyer moves in, within a week somebody breaks into the house, and it wasn't safe. So yes, and that can come back and haunt the seller. Those statements, and that's what we cautious about. How that we send the flyers. For sale right now, we not have that guidance. They will do what they're coming from their heart.
Right.
what they feel, what they think about the house, and not necessarily know the repercussions of what could occur if they're saying the wrong thing.
Right. So when you don't do it for sale by owner, when you hire a realtor, you get so many disclosures from, if you're a buyer, you get a lot of disclosures from the seller. We make sure that the seller fills everything out. We review those disclosures before they go to the buyer. And we are protecting our seller as well. We want to make sure that everything is disclosed. If I see something and the seller is not mentioning that, I want to make sure we ask. We also encourage the buyers to have an inspection to make sure that they had a chance to see everything. A lot of sellers, when they're doing for sale by owners, also they don't let the buyers do the inspection. They're afraid that they're going to lose the sale, right?
Yes. Well, sometimes again, the issue of not knowing, and they say, "Well, I lived in the house for so many years.
Nothing's ever
I never had any problem here, so I don't know why you're wasting time on inspection."
Right.
And those are the things that again they're coming from their heart, and we're not coming from our heart. We're coming from the business point of view. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, my job is to see what the worst case can be,
right,
and make sure that we cover all those bases, so it doesn't become an issue down the road. Not that we don't have any problems down the road, and even then, after all how careful we are and all the documents we use and everything we still get situations that can happen because again, people will sue. Unfortunately, in California, it's a very litigious state. Mm-hmm. They'll sue for anything. And so we try to minimize the possibilities. And even if it gets to a letter from a lawyer, that we can respond with a good information that we did the right job for a client and everything was disclosed properly, and therefore it probably won't go any further than that.
Right. Yeah, our sellers will be protected. Mm-hmm. Wow. So there's a lot of risk doing it for sale by owners. So if you're thinking that, you might be thinking, how much money do you think you're going to save? I always tell my clients that, like, how much money do you think you're going to save if you do it yourself? Well, I'm going to save like 5%. Well, 5%, how much is that? Maybe $25,000. If you have to go to court, it's going to cost you more than, how much do you think they spend when they go to court?
Just to go, not even just to go to court, to go to what is called mediation, and maybe what's called depositions, before you set a foot in courtroom, you probably spend between $50,000 to $75,000.
See, and even sometimes, even if you are gonna win, you still have to go through all that process and spend that money, even if you're gonna win.
Even if you're able to get the money back, you're talking a year worth of courtrooms, potential headaches, problems in your life that you don't want to be going through this headache of not knowing what's going to occur. And in a courtroom, unfortunately, you never know what the outcome is going to be at the end. Mm-hmm. And again, yes, it can be done. There's no question. Like I said before, somebody can change their on their cars. They can do things, but I would leave it to the experts. I would always leave anything to the experts. I know what I'm expert at. I'll work at that, make money on that to pay experts for do what they're supposed to do. The other part is this: if you're not going to get the most money for your house, and you're maybe not getting an extra $5,000-$10,000 in sales price, that goes to commission.
Yeah.
That you thought you were saving.
Exactly. You're going to sell it for a lot less if you do it yourself.
And you did the work and still got maybe hopefully as much money with a realtor and having to do the work yourself. Everything.
With less risk. Now, we have a question here. Yes. What if I'm selling to a relative?
Well, that could be also an issue. Okay. Again, the relative can sue you as much as the neighbor across the street.
Oh my God, even worse, I think.
I was just in a deposition in which the best friend of the agent was apologizing to the agent because she was suing her. Actually crying. See, but my lawyer told me I had to. Okay? And we're not even guilty. It has to be because they're suing the other agent, and they sort of have to drag us along. And so that's not the case. Sometimes that's actually worse because you drop your guard. Oh, come on, buddy. It has to be. It's a legal document.
Right.
This is the biggest contract most people will probably ever sign in their lifetime.
Yes.
And $500,000 home, $700,000 home, and they're talking to their cousin to sell their house, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, you definitely want to do it with a realtor even if you're selling it to a family member.
We get this all the time. Oh, you're selling your house? Call me. I'll buy it from you.
Yeah.
Gabby, I got to list my house, but I have this friend at work who wants to buy it from me. We have words that we can work around that and help them if that's going to be the case.
Right.
And do something with them, but don't waste their time because many times it's just words that were nothing. There's no substance to them.
Yeah, they're not really gonna. Maybe they don't qualify, so you want to make sure. Let's see. There's another question here. Oh, she's just saying you wouldn't go to court without an attorney. Why would you sell your house without a professional realtor?
Exactly right.
It's true. Wouldn't it be a huge risk to have a potential buyer in my house without an agent? Oh yeah, that's what we talked about. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you have no. You're not screening people. They're inside your home.
Yeah, you have to be really careful. Even us, when we do have open houses, we always have a second person there with us. We want to make sure that we're protected. So let's see. I want to make sure we have the questions. If anyone chooses to sell by owner. Okay, yeah, that's the paperwork that we said. Okay. So did we cover all the risks? Let me see, because you gave me these notes here. I want to make sure. So there's 10 pages, and that's the purchase contract, right?
That's just the purchase contract.
So how much does it really cost to sell with a realtor?
Well, you're talking about commissions are negotiable from real estate companies, and the way that usually the process works, we put the house in the market, and we offer from the commission that we have contracted with the seller.
Mm-hmm.
We offer a good part of it, most of the time around the half of it, to a prospective agents out there. So instead of just one individual trying to sell your home, you have thousands of people who have access to your home. Now we have, for example, a statewide MLS. So not only people in Chula Vista want to sell your homes, they could be somebody sitting in San Francisco, agent who has a client who's moving to Chula Vista. We can be talking about the property in Chula Vista. And that's done both to the board of realtors and through our internet system. Now, Coldwell Banker, we have thousands of offices throughout the United States, in Canada, and other parts of the world. Actually, 51 states, 51 countries, excuse me. So we have a network that we can expose your property. Everything in this business, anything you want to sell in any product, what it is, the more people they can have access to it to look at it, the better the chances are you're going to sell it for the highest price.
Right, right. Whatever money you think you're going to save, we can get it for you.
Well,
additional.
That is the reason, Gary, whether 80% plus people turn around and go back and hire their realtor anyway. Because they realize they're not getting the offers of the money they thought they were going to be getting. And now they work with their realtor, and then, voila, they start getting money. And at the end, they make almost as much money, sometimes a lot more than would have made by selling themselves with not the headaches.
Exactly. We're going to do all the disclosures for you. We're going to protect you from the risks because everything is going to be in writing. And it's just going to be so much better than if you did it yourself. So I wanted to go over this because a lot of people are selling this summer. They're thinking of selling their houses because the prices are really high right now.
Well, I've been hearing that every year for the last 33 years. Prices are really high this year. And, but one thing we have this year, that when I started in real estate, it was one page. Interest rates were 16.9%.
16%.
16.9%.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Can you imagine getting that interest rate?
And that's when you should have paid 2 points for the loans, the buyers did. So that's what it was, and people still bought it. People said, God, it was too much interest rate. Well, look at the price of a house. If you would have bought a property in that year, 1984, at 16.9%, in Coronado case, you would have bought a condo for $90,000. Today it's worth over $1 million.
Right.
So even though you pay 16.9%, offsets it. What do we have in interest rate today?
3.54%.
So we have a perfect combination. 3.5%. I had an entomite told me, I can care less about the sales price. How much is the monthly payment?
Right.
And that's the case. People are able to buy today at those prices, at those interest rates. And that's one of the things that we have as realtors when you're working for sell by owners. We have access and knowledge to a lot of different loan programs to assist people who may not even be a potential buyer in their minds, but we can make them become potential buyers by teaching them how there's other options to buy a property. And we have access to all those people.
Yes, we have all those lenders that can help you. Buyers that don't have any money for their down payment. We can definitely bring those buyers. Yeah, it's I know even when I remember back in I think it was 2012, the prices were like super low, and I remember I was buying a condo and people were like, you should wait because prices are going to come down. And it was 2012. I'm like, you think so? Yeah, I heard the market is going to crash, so you shouldn't buy, you should wait. I mean, I kept that condo for like 3 years only, and I made $100,000 in equity in that condo. And right now I keep hearing the same thing, like, oh, you should wait because the market is going to crash.
Well, that's always been there, and it's always been there. See, but this is one of the beautiful things about real estate.
Yeah, I love real estate. Yeah.
You're going to use the house. You have to have a place to live.
Yeah.
So once you buy it, the fact that tomorrow the price went up or went down doesn't affect that. Your payment is still the same, and you're still using the same house. You know, and now you're buying it for investment. I want to buy it today to sell it tomorrow. It's a different story.
Right.
But probably 90% of all our buyers are people that are buying houses to live themselves, or keep them for a while as rentals. So look at the prices of when they were 16.9. Look at today. Look at 5 years from now. Where we're going to be at. There are going to be people sitting 5 years from now saying, "Woof! I wish I would have bought in 2019."
Yeah.
At those prices at 3.8%. But let's say the property dropped by $20,000, $30,000.
Makes no difference.
But the rate goes up by 1%.
Yeah.
The payment is higher.
Even though the house is cheaper.
And cheaper is to go higher. So most of us, I wish we all had cash to go out and buy houses left and right. But most of our payment buyers. And this is the perfect opportunity to do so.
With a low interest rate.
Yes.
Okay, so let's recap. People do for sale by owners because they want to save money. But we all know they're not really saving any money. They're probably losing money. And the risks are really high if you're doing it yourself. You want to make sure you hire a professional realtor, like myself.
Like Gabby.
Like Faby. Or many other ones here at the office. There's, how many agents do we have now?
775.
775. You have 775 realtors to choose from. And we're all here in South Bay. Call me first, though.
Yeah, you're gonna find, that's because I'm in front of Faby. But Faby's been around the business for a long time, and not only that is the quality of her business. You rank any individual, any professional in any career, is by their clients coming back to them, because that's the number one. You can do all the marketing and advertising you do in the world to get the client for the first time, but the real value is with the people that come back.
Yeah.
And you have a tremendous following of people. They keep coming back and saying you're their friends and their relatives. Why? Because they know they're getting a good job from you.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. Yeah, I do. I love my job and I really do what's best for my client. And, even if they want to do sometimes a for sale by owner, I totally discourage them from doing that. But you know what? The system always proves me right at the end of the day. They always end up listing with me because they decide, you know what? It's true. I'd rather go with you and get it done professionally, get it staged, get it photographed professionally, and get me top dollar with no headaches. Well, Jose, thank you. Thank you for all this information.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being so tough on our files to make sure we never go to court. Also, guys, we have a new listing that we're gonna put on the market Saturday. We're getting it's getting staged tomorrow, pictures on Friday, so it'll go on the market on Saturday. Sunday we're having an open house 12 to 4. It's a 6-bedroom house here in Chula Vista. Very nice house. And there's not that many 6-bedroom houses in old Chula Vista.
No, not at all.
So if you have a big family, this is the house for you. 1489 Skylark Way in Chula Vista, and it's going to be listed for $599.
Wow.
It's also a good price, right?
Oh, a very good price.
Yeah. So it's just freshly painted, very nice house with air conditioning, new windows, just a really nice house. So hopefully you'll come and visit me Sunday 12 to 4. Okay, let's give some Starbucks cards. You want to pull out a name? Hi, Jenny. Thank you for watching us. Hola, David. Hola, Alberto.
We have
Thank you.
Letty Wessel.
Letty, thank you for joining us. Let's get another one. Let's get one more. Let's see who else is here that we didn't say hi to. Mia. Hi, Mia. How are you?
Anna.
Anna, that's her sister. Anna, thank you. We'll send them your way. Thank you for always supporting us. So remember, we're on our episode 95. Can you believe we've done 95?
95 of this.
Yeah.
100 is coming soon.
100. Yeah, we're going to have like a lot of gift cards that day. We have a lot of people that are sponsoring those gift cards. But it's been fun. This is the way I like to connect with people in the community.
We're doing a great job because I've been seeing many of them. I wouldn't say I saw 95, but many of them. And some are very instructive, very helpful for people, and worth seeing them for sure.
Thank you. It's a lot of effort to keep doing this every Wednesday because, we get busy. And there's Wednesdays that I'm like, oh, this Wednesday we're not going to do it. But I think it's important for me this is a way to be in touch with them.
Of course.
We're always so busy. Well, thank you, Jose. And we'll see you on another one hopefully soon.
You let me know. Thank you.
Let me think what else we can talk about.
Oh, there's probably a few things we can talk about.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week at 4 p.m. Don't forget.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jose.